They're still my favorite to come out of the NFC to get into the Super Bowl.
I think it's going to be a shootout. I think you're not going to be seeing too much defense in this game.
Week after week, we talk about how they're firing on all cylinders.
It's surprising. I mean, they are underdogs too.
Two defenses that are suffocating teams. Hello and welcome to Ain't That Our Ball. I'm David Scott. Alongside me is NFL expert Ryan Sanudo. Ryan, we're getting late in the season. We got a couple great matchups.
Yeah, a lot of good matchups, playoff implications with almost, I think, all these three matchups. Let's get into it.
All right, so let's start with the divisional matchup here. We got the New England Patriots versus the Buffalo Bills. This could secure the Patriots' place in the playoffs and could lead to a little more confusion for the Bills.
Definitely. I mean, the Patriots are riding a 10-game winning streak right now. And then the Bills, they have a 2-game winning streak too. So these two teams are, firing on all cylinders right now. But this is such a nice matchup towards the end of the season. The Patriots, they've been playing, easy teams. So to face a Bills team, this is going to be a tough task. And they're actually an underdog in this matchup.
Yeah, I think it's a little surprising that they're an underdog in this matchup. But you're right, they've played some easy teams. We're still not too sure of their capabilities. They have had a couple good wins sprinkled in there. They're at home, so even more confusing why they're an underdog. But I think it is still possible that they can get this one done against a firing Josh Allen team that's really finding their stride before the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills, they've been pretty inconsistent. I feel like they started the year 3-0, and then they've just been losing, winning, losing. So I think at the same time, I do have the Bills winning this game. I just feel like, the tandem in Josh Allen, James Cook, this is the #1 rushing attack, and the Patriots haven't seen this type of team recently. I mean, they've been playing teams like the Jets, the New York Giants. So it's been pretty, easy going for the Patriots. This is a very tough task. And the Bills, there are some areas that they need to work on, their defense especially, but offensively, I really trust Josh Allen, James Cook, that fiery tandem to get things done against a Patriots team defense. This is pretty good.
Yeah, this is the kind of game that you're going to have to win if you want to be able to make a run in the playoffs this year. If you look at the teams that the Bills and Josh Allen could face if they do make it into the playoffs, you're looking at no Joe Burrow, no Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, no Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. It seems to be an easier field in the AFC if you can't beat this version of the Patriots with a first-year playoff quarterback. Then you don't feel great about your prospects throughout the playoffs. So you got to get the win here, get some confidence, keep that momentum rolling when we get into the playoffs.
Exactly. And the Patriots, they're without their first-round pick, Campbell. He's still hurt. And the Patriots, they're coming off the bye. They haven't played in a while since December 1st. So it's a little bit of, time. They're a young team. So I think it's not going to be easy against Buffalo. And with Buffalo, I think Joey Bosa, he was out last game. If he plays this game, I think that's going to be very important against that offensive line. Because the Bills' pass rush has been, here and there. They've been pretty inconsistent. So I think that's going to be a very, interesting thing. Because Drake May has been such a good quarterback, both against pressure and then when he has a clean pocket. But he has been getting sacked. I think he's allowed 40 sacks this year, and I think it's going to be important for the Bills to get to Drake May.
Yeah, definitely all around. You said the rushing game, too. The rushing game really has to get going. Their defense has to get going. All around, the Bills have been playing better within the last 2 weeks, a bit more consistent as the weeks go on. They keep that up. I agree with you. I think they can get this win on the road at Foxborough. Hostile environment, but Josh Allen has been in these scenarios before. I think he gets a win here and carries that momentum further into the playoffs.
Definitely. I think Josh Allen, he puts the team on his back. I mean, you look at the stats, they're pretty ugly when it comes to receiving stats because he's running the football a lot. And it's almost every single game where a tight end is leading the stats. Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox. You haven't been seeing a guy step up, the wide receiver group like Keon Coleman. You saw that Cam Newton meme, making fun of Keon Coleman.
Yeah.
You haven't been seeing guys step up in that wide receiver room. But at the same time, I just trust Josh Allen's legs. Romo always mentions his legs when it comes to a game that he's, broadcasting. But I think I trust Josh Allen running the football. James Cook, the #1 rushing attack in the league against a Patriots team that I really feel like they haven't had that test this year. They've been playing, I feel like we're a broken record with these easy teams, but it's going to be very tough, and I could see the Patriots finally losing this week.
All right, well, we both got the Bills in this one. Let's move on to a matchup between two quarterbacks playing their former teams. This was the trade that went down a few years ago. We got the Los Angeles Rams versus the Detroit Lions. Matt Stafford against Jared Goff. Both teams have been playing pretty well as of late. The Lions are still trying to scrape their way into the playoffs, but the Rams, this is probably a playoff clinching game for them. If they win this game, it seems certain that they're in the playoffs. They still got to fight for their division, but they're on top of the NFC right now.
And for good reason. I mean, that offense is so good. Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, they get the big plays on that offense. Kyron Williams, and that's going to be something that might be very difficult for Detroit. They give up a lot of big plays. You saw it. They did beat the Cowboys, but they were getting a lot of big plays in that game. The Thanksgiving game against the Packers, they're giving up big plays. So that's not going to be good for a Detroit defense that is decimated with injuries. Rams, on the other hand, they're really good right now health-wise, and their defense is top 10 in the league too. So top to bottom, I just love Los Angeles in this matchup. They're at home, so it's not really that much of a advantage because they don't really have great fan base. The Lions fans will go there, but I expect the Rams to pull this one out. I do like everything that's going on with LA right now.
Yeah, it seems like week after week we talk about how they're firing on all cylinders, but they always look good. They did have that shocking loss to the Panthers, but outside of that, they've been playing really well against every kind of competition. They're still my favorite to come out of the NFC to get into the Super Bowl. And Matt Stafford really hasn't missed a beat. He as I said in that Carolina game, he had the 2 interceptions and a fumble, so that was kind of shocking. But he's collected himself. He still looks great. He's, I think, going to collect his MVP this year, unless Drake May has something to say about it. But it's been pretty tight. But he's got full command of this offense, and against a Lions defense that is not too tough, and as you said, is decimated by injuries, I could see him going off for a huge game against this whole team.
Yeah, you read my mind. I was going to mention Drake May. He's probably my number 2 MVP right now, and then right there is Matthew Stafford. He just, was so good against Arizona. I feel like that was kind of an easy matchup, though, at the same time.
Yeah.
They're pretty bad on defense. On the other hand, Matthew Stafford, I just give him a lot of credit in this offense. He did have that tough game against Carolina, but I just feel like everyone knew he was due for a bad game, and now he's been, backing up his MVP game. So I really like Stafford in this game. And Jared Goff, going to him, I mean, he's been pretty good too. He did struggle against Green Bay, not an easy defense to go against, but they were pretty good against Dallas. But Jared Goff, they've actually been good against Stafford. I think they've won the last 2 matchups, between the two. Now this is finally the 4th matchup. I feel like, in the beginning, we used to have a lot of hype, Rams, Lions, but I feel like it's now we get it. Stafford, that's his team. I mean, it's been a while since that trade happened. So, but I see the Rams, pulling away with this win. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think you're not going to be seeing too much defense in this game compared to the other 2 matchups that we're going to be talking about today. So expect a shootout, but I think you're going to see a lot of points, especially on the Los Angeles side.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to say it's a shootout. I'm going to say that the Lions put up not the Lions, the Rams put up big points. See, the 2 quarterbacks get me confused. I'm going to say that the Rams put up big points here, and I think the Rams defense is going to hold the Lions down pretty well. I do really like the front 4 that the Rams have. Jared Verse, is always getting in there. So I think, the Lions have a powerful running game, but I think if the Rams can shut that down, that's going to lead to a lot less scoring from their side. So I'm going to say more of a lopsided game in favor of the Rams. Moving on to just full league defense, we're going into a matchup against 2 of the top defensive units in the league. You might see a lot of scoring in the Rams game. You're not going to see a lot of scoring in this one. It's the Denver Broncos versus the Green Bay Packers. 2 offenses that are not really finding their footing so far, and 2 defenses that are suffocating teams. Who's got the edge here?
Oh, I give the edge on defense to the Denver Broncos. I mean, slight, because the Packers defense is really good with Micah Parsons, but the Broncos, top to bottom, I just love it. Jonathan Cooper, Nick Bonito, just that pass rush that they have against teams, it's just ferocious. And Green Bay, they're no slouch either. They have really good players on that team too, but Denver's defense, in that climate, mile high, I mean, they have a 10-game winning streak too, just like the Patriots. So they just keep winning and winning and winning. And yes, I think the last couple of weeks they've been facing easy opponents, the Raiders last week. But this is a tough task. They're going to have to go against the Packers offense with Jordan Love, who's been really good of late. Christian Watson has been that guy on that offense. And no one can forget about Josh Jacobs. I mean, at the end of the day, maybe it hasn't been the same as last year, but that's still a pretty decent to good rushing attack. So I still give the edge to Broncos when it comes to defense.
Yeah, in my opinion, the Broncos defense is the second best unit in the league, just behind the Houston Texans. Yeah. But it's hard for anyone to match what the Texans are doing right now. But the Broncos are up there. It's just a really, really tough unit. They're hitting hard. They've got great coverage down the field. And I think that's going to be really tough for Jordan Love. And I think that's going to balance out. In fact, because I do think the Packers have a better offense than the Broncos do. But I think the Denver defense is going to really balance that out and make this a really even game. I think compared to the other 2 games that we're talking about, this is the biggest toss-up here where I'm not quite sure which way it's going to go. I think I want to lean on saying it's going to go to the Broncos just because I do have more faith in their defense to not fold than the Packers. Because we've seen some big games go against the Packers defense. The Cowboys put 40 on them. They lost to the Browns, so they've had a couple bad losses in there. I'm more confident in the Broncos defense to hold firm against a good offense than the Packers defense to not make the big mistake for the loss.
Yeah, Denver's offense, I think, is, like you said, a little bit weaker than Green Bay. Bo Nix has to step up. I really think the run game will be vital for Denver to have success. Harvey, guys like that. I think they got to establish, I know it's like a played-out term to establish the run, but they got to run a little bit in the beginning against Micah Parsons, because you don't want Parsons to, wake up in the first quarter and do it. Parsons usually does his second half or whatever, but in the beginning, they got to run the football, and then that can lead to, play action, Cortland Sutton, Franklin. So they got guys on offense that can do it. And Green Bay's offense, I do like it. I think it's, definitely better than Denver's offense, but I just feel like at home in that climate, it's surprising. I mean, they are underdogs too. I mean, we were talking about the Bills are the favorite on the road. Same thing goes here. Packers are the favorite here, but I'm going to go with Denver. I think that, they're going to keep rolling. If they win this game, they're going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC, and that's going to be very important. You want to get a bye and secure home field. So I really like Denver here just to find things, early and possibly, get to Jordan Love. I think that pass rush can get to Jordan Love because sometimes he holds the football a little too long, and you can expect good things to come from that defense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I like the Broncos here too, and especially at home. They've played really well at home. Obviously,
they're 6-0 at home.
Obviously, a great crowd at home, but when they get to Mile High, they just really turn things up. And I agree with you. I think the rushing game is going to be important. R.J. Harvey's really come out the last few weeks since J.K. Dobbins went down with his season-ending injury. So I think the ingredients are there for the Broncos to take home this win and continue moving in as that 1 seed in the AFC and possibly securing that in the future.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots lose, Broncos win, they get that AFC, and I think that's going to be very important. I really like Denver here, 6-0 at home. And with Green Bay, I think this is going to be not a shootout like I was mentioning earlier with the Rams game. I think this is going to be something where you're going to be seeing a lot of defense in this game. So it's all about the turnovers at the same time. Like, Bo Nix cannot turn the ball over because the Green Bay Packers, that's what they do best. They, turnovers, like Caleb Williams at the end of the game on that, Week 14 game. So I just see, good things to come from Broncos defense. And, if they win this game, they can move on and, keep on winning. They're going to play the Chiefs, soon. So I think they win this game, they'll get the number 1 seed.
All right, well, a lot to look at this week, a couple great matchups. That's going to do it for this week's episode of Ain't That Our Ball. You can watch us every Thursday. And every Monday, you can check out our tactics show, X's and O's. Please leave a like and subscribe, and let us know if you think the Patriots can take the 1 seed from the Broncos.